Yes, Natalie, the podcast is starting. And I'm excited that it's starting because what's good about this podcast is not only does it gives you an opportunity of voicing who you are, but it gives me the opportunity of just being myself. That's Natalie, the podcast. But the reason of today's episode is really awesome because not only am I discussing something important to me, but something that has happened in my life, which is I turned 50. So at the beginning of this year, I turned 50 in February, which I'm very blessed that I made it a half a century on this earth. But I didn't get the crown or the parties that, I saw some people do, or some people went to other countries or, did some stuff. But I did have an awakening. And so my side of 50 is not the party side, but is the reality of getting into midlife. So that is the storyline of today for me. It's just me turning 50, but also to reflect that there are other people, out there that has recently had turned 50. So I'm just going to say happy birthday to you or happy belated birthday, depending on when you did turn 50 this year. So to start my story out, I didn't have a party or anything big. Actually, I had a lot of life changing situations that made me look at things differently. So to protect my family, I'm not going to say who's who and what, but I just want to, iterate that things happen. So around the beginning of this year, my husband had a death in his family, and it was very sad. And I knew that we were going to make sure we would get there and, be there for our family. And then they were like, "Oh, it's on your birthday." So I was like, "Oh, okay." You know, I mean, what can you say? You just, "Oh, that's what I said." Was, "Oh, okay." So so I had to mentally prepare myself that I was going to a funeral on my birthday. And and then we traveled to where my husband lived, and then we made sure to, get ready to support our family. And later that evening, another loved one had a stroke. So that was like a double whammy, like woo, and it wasn't like it was a lot. It was like this was welcome into 50. And I'm saying this because that really is what it is. We at 50, you are in the middle. You are not the young person you was, but you're not an older person. You're kind of like looking at everything. You're sitting on that fence where you see, your 20s and your 30s and 40s, and then you're looking on the other side because remember we haven't gotten to that yet. The 60s, 70s, got really 80, 90s, 100 if possible. But it's just, you're just sitting there and you're just like, wow, this is some heavy shit, happening. But it made me realize that that it is. It's, I don't have biological children. I have bonus daughters. So it's kind of like I'm a mom. I'm at the age I could be a grandmother or a nana or a grandmom, whichever one you want to call it, but I still can have kids. So it's like you're in that middle cuspit. And it's crazy. You're like some of us may have started perimenopause, menopause. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I love going to the pad down and not having to get any. So, I can pass them pads with no problem now. Is, because I don't miss it. I do not miss having a period. But then what's so bad about being going into perimenopause that they don't tell you is that if you do have a period, then you have to recount that shit. So that pisses you. So I'm just giving you a heads up, ladies. You might have been home free, but if you had one spot, you automatically got to count all over again. So that is just horrible, And then on top of that, some of you might be married, so now you have men in the category that they're going through their midlife crisis at 50, where you might see some guys going to get some ear piercing or some driving some cars or saying, "Hey, babe, I got some rhino pills. Let's make it happen, Captain." Or now you can go and get roll or anything. So because it's 50, you know, I'm be honest, sometimes naps are great. Sometimes you rather take a nap than have sex. That's okay. Sometimes you get more excited seeing like those small appliances. I ain't gonna lie. I get happy when I see a Ninja. Now Ninja got two things on them that you can make it like a double slushie. Oh crap. You done made my day. That's what I'm talking about, 50. 50 is when you can go and put some flip-flops in your purse and some heels and know once you get out the car, you put your heels on, get into the place and put your flip-flops on. That is 50. 50 is when you can sit on the couch, get up and pop something and then you're down for a week. That's 50. 50 is when you can look at somebody in the face and say, no, no, regardless of where it could be. It could be going to the grocery store, going to a party, going anywhere. No, I'm so sorry. I'm not going tonight. Thank you. Goodbye. That's 50. It's beautiful. 50 is awesome. 50 can be a flash of fire, like a hot flash, especially for a lot of us women out here. When you see the fans, it ain't all about line dancing. Sometimes it's just about trying to keep yourself cool. That's 50. 50 is when you can look at a young man and you don't even have to worry, be like, no, I'm good. That's 50. I mean, now, yes, don't get me wrong. I'm not blind. I mean, I'm married, true enough. I can look at a guy and say, oh, he's cute and walk on. Because I already know I ain't doing that. For what? I have a man at home. I'm good. I am good. I am perfect because that's called work. You understand? Work. And I don't need to do no additional work and I already got it at my house. So that's 50. That's 50. But all in all, I look at it as a beautiful thing. I mean, to 25, if you look at it, if you minus 20 years from it right there, you're already at what, 30. And I remember when I was 30, I actually I actually got divorced at 29 and I was 30 and I didn't really know who I was. I was newly divorced. I didn't have much, I went back home with nothing and I had to reinvent my life, and it was a lot. It was a lot. And I wouldn't go, if people be like, oh, would you go back in time? Hell no, I ain't going back and repeat that mess over. No, it was enough when I went through it. So, but at 50, I can look back and be like, okay, thank God I got through that when I was 29, 30 years old. When I was 40, I remember I was let go of position and it made me just put a bad taste in my mouth when it came to business. But then my mom was like, why don't you go get your master? I already had one. So I'm like, now I'm going back to school for a second one. So I went ahead and got one. It took 3 years. But I mean, now if I would go back in time and do it again, hell no, I wouldn't do that again. But looking back at 50, it was great. That's the one thing about 50. You can look back and be like, you know what? It was worth it at that time. When you're doing it, no. When you look back at it, you're like, it was worth it. And that's how 50 is. It's that, it's that sitting on the fence, looking back, saying how I got over, depending on what your beliefs are. My beliefs is and I know it was Jesus, because there's power in the name of Jesus. And that's how I was raised. So, but I love 50. 50 to me is the catalyst of where I want to be. So real, if you look at it, 50 is Like if you're getting healthy, doing stuff for yourself now, this is going to go into your 60s, 70s. So, 50 is that, okay, am I going to be healthy? Am I going to change my life? Am I going to change careers? Am I going to do this or not? Am I going to let people go? That's what 50 is. It's like it's that cleaning house. You're cleaning house to see where you want to be, what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish. I'll be honest, my accomplishments soon go to sleep. 'Cause I can't stay up like I used to because I get tired. I get sleepy. That's 50. That is 50. I see a lot of people, 50-year-olds, they look good now. Don't get me wrong. There's some 50-year-olds look great. They go to the gym, they eat right. And then I see some 50-year-olds that is like, what happened to you? But that's life. And that's your choice. And that's one thing that's good about 50. It's jump to what you would like to be or what you would not like to be. And that's what I think it is. I think that's what 50 is. It's a beautiful thing to look at. It's not an age. Even though it is an age, it's not an age of truly who you can be or what you can become. You can start things now. You could be start a business now, or you could start a family now, or you could start the car now. I mean, however it is, you're starting something. And that's what I look at like. You're starting something. And that's the great thing about being 50 that I see. And yes, my beginning of the year, I mean, it's already July, did not start the way I want it to be, but I have the choice to make it better towards the end. I still have 6 months going the other way. So that's the great thing about life and being a 50 or whatever age you at is you can make the choice to something different. I'm serious. I am serious because I feel like and I got a good story to tell. And so this story, I remember because I have gray hair, I have locks, I have micro locks, and I have gray hair. And I remember when COVID hit, we couldn't go to get our hair done. And I had to make the choice of my hair growing out. So I had, dark hair, and then the roots was growing gray. And I was scared. I was scared of change, but I knew it had to come because again, gray hair runs in my family. It runs on both of my sides, and I had to choose. And I remember that day came where a woman said, "Who dyed your hair?" And I said, "No, this ain't died. This is it. This is your life. This is what has happened. I've dyed my hair for 30 years. People don't realize this, but I literally was dyeing my hair since I was 16. I had gray hair since I was 16, but I was dyeing over and over the years. But gray hair is like, screw what you're trying to put in this. This is gray, honey. You better take it and let it be." And that's how it was. And I remember I said, this is God's dye because after that, I just let it go. And even my sister, she's great. So we both just decided, you know what? We just gonna let it be. But now being 50, I get compliments on it. I'm blessed to have it. I really like my hair. I like where I'm at in my life. I mean, I'm very happy. Even if I don't have good days, hell, at least I'm having a day. So that's one thing I look at. Good day, bad day is a day. So, but I'm just gonna summarize it up because I'm gonna make this kind of a shorter one than I usually do. But to summarize it up, 50 is an awesome, beautiful thing. You have made it almost half of a century. Lord knows we made mistakes, probably done some stupid stuff. It was sometimes I even pray to God like, "Lord, you get me through this. Lord, I won't do this again." We all said that prayer. "Oh God, don't, if you don't let me get no more mad 2020, I sure drink water." Or, "Oh Lord, if I can survive this date, I may call or I may not." But the thing is that you made it. You can laugh about it. You can joke about it. But it's a learning experience that you can pass it on to somebody else. If it's a family member, if it's a friend, if it's a child or a stranger, because that's the great thing about wisdom. It's passable. Now again, my mother and father always taught me you can give a person advice, but it's on them to take it. And that's one thing I do. I will say, don't kill yourself over trying to give people wisdom and knowledge if they don't want it. But if they want it, give it to them. But if not, have a nice day. Keep it moving. But again, I just appreciate everybody listening to the podcast. I appreciate, I see people are starting to put a little post saying, hey, I'm following you. So I see you. I'm definitely going to try my best to talk with you and respond to you. But I appreciate you all. I just appreciate the time, the fact you're listening. But again, when it comes down to it, live your best life, love on yourself, and just do you boo to the best of your ability. But I hope everybody have a great day or evening or night or whenever you're listening.